Hi and welcome back. So today's video, as promised, is me explaining the new direction that I have found myself on and what I've been up to lately. So just to recap on my from my last video, um, in the run up to Christmas, say 2 or 3 months prior to Christmas, I felt like there was an energy shift. I knew that change was on the way. And the only way I can describe it is like a train that's way down the track and it's coming at me in a positive way. And I can't stop it, but I know it's coming. Um, that's the best way to describe it. And rather than run out and get a clairvoyant reading like I might have a few years ago to check in and see what this change is, I decided to try and get to the bottom of it myself. And then I literally one morning got out of bed and it's almost like my guides just pinged it into my brain. You need to you need to listen to all your old clairvoyant readings. And I've been lucky enough to have had them to have had most recorded. Um, I mean, some don't like you recording your readings, and then others are like, yeah, whatever, go for it. They love it. So I've got them all on my laptop, and they were like, you need to go listen to them. Um, and my guides are amazing because this this has happened so many times with things. So like when I first started out in spirit art, well, initially I didn't want to be a spirit artist at all. Wasn't interested. Just wanted to work on my clairaudience and my visions. Um, and then I went to a massive mind, body, and spirit show, and the switch went on my back, and it was like you are going to be doing this. And I really did want to do it so desperately. It was like practice, practice, practice. I want to be a spirit artist so bad. I just felt the pull in my tummy. It was like overwhelming. And then again, I literally got out of bed one morning. They were like, well, now you've done all your practicing, you need to get a website. And when 2 weeks later, I had designed a website with my husband, and a month later, it went live. And this was no different. It's like you've got to listen to all these readings. So I put my headphones on and I do my chores, and it was really fascinating. It was fun to go through all my old readings, and it was interesting to see what had come true, what hadn't. And interestingly, there was a common theme. It kept coming up in the readings. It was saying that you wouldn't just be doing portraits, that you would be working on large canvases, abstract, landscape, and you're going to be painting your visions, your dreams, your downloads, all the stuff that you experience. And I remember at the time, because it did, like I said, it did crop up quite a few times. I just shut it down. I wasn't interested because at the time it was like, I'm no good at painting. I'm really not. I suck. I'm a drawer and I'm only good at drawing faces. The thought of doing anything else is like it just wasn't a thing. But anyway, I I have to listen to what my guides say, and they've put me on this path. So I believe they tried to put me on this path a year ago, but I wasn't getting the signals that they were sending me. I was just completely clueless. So, long story short, I'm used to quite a healthy waiting list, and I noticed the orders weren't coming in like they normally were. Um, and obviously, I started panicking, thinking, is my time as a spirit artist over? Do they want me to do something else? And it wasn't so much ego, it was more about I really got my knickers in a twist thinking, am I not going to be doing spirit art anymore? Because I am so passionate about it. I love it so much. I can't think of me doing anything else. It's one of my sole purposes. And so it was more it coming to an end. Um, and I think my guides probably, I can imagine they were frustrated with me and they were like, she's just not getting the signals we're sending her. and then thought, sod it, just give her back her waiting list. And it wasn't long before I was back up to what I'm used to, which is, quite a few months. So I think it's got to the point where they've kind of like intervened again. Obviously, there's only so much your guides can do. They can only nudge you. They can't sort of beam down and say, do this. But they, they put me on this path of listening to my audio. And I'm like, right, I need to listen. If they want me to start painting things and, take a bit more of a back step from my portraits, then, I need to embrace it. And there's another reason why I believe they've put me on this path, which, for anybody that knows me, I suffer with chronic migraines. I have done since I was 17, and they've got sort of worse over the years. And I've also recently, sorry, that's my nerves. I've also recently been getting like focal seizures, like a form of epilepsy. It's not very nice. And I believe actually I have um, I have actually been having these seizures years and years ago, but I didn't realise that they were focal seizures. Um, and my doctor wants to send me back to the neurologist, and I'm just like, I really, really don't want to know. I'm sick to death of hospitals and medication and painful treatments. 2022 is a complete write-off for me. I was so ill with all the stuff they put me on. It made my migraines 10 times worse. I struggled to work. And sorry if you can hear that. Somebody's playing a radio super, super loud. So I do apologise if you can hear that. Where was I? Because that's distracting me. So obviously, I need to think of my health and my well-being, and having this constant long waiting list can be quite pressurizing. It can be stressful at times, especially when you get people messaging you long, long, long before I'm due to draw for them, and they're like, "How is my portrait going?" And you're like, "Well, you try to be polite. I'm always polite, but it's like I'm not due to draw for you for like another 4 months." But so I've got to be transparent and be honest. When you have a big waiting list, it can start to feel like a conveyor belt. And I'm always trying to get ahead because I don't like people waiting long periods of time for their portraits. I know people get really excited and they want it. And, that doesn't help me, because when I'm stressed out, it's likely to trigger a migraine and whatever's. And I just, I want to be healthy and be the best I can for spirit. So that's another reason why I think they want me to go down this new direction. So anyway, I had lots of fun getting all my materials. I went to lots of shops. I bought loads of stuff online, making sure I had everything. I was watching loads of tutorials online, reading lots of articles, and just really, really throwing myself into it, trying to prepare myself. I worked so hard in the run up to Christmas, getting ahead with my orders so that I could have a good period over Christmas to actually start my first painting. I will explain about, I will show you the painting in a minute, but I just wanted to explain about this first painting, why I've chosen it. So it's called The Crystal Palace, and it is basically my version of what I believe my heaven to look like. So I do believe, this is my personal belief, that we all have our own version of heaven, because we are creators and we co-create, and depending on our vibration and what we vibe with, our heavens might look a bit different. So however, I do believe that fundamentally, overall, the layout of heaven, if you want to put it like that, is pretty much the same. It just varies from person to person depending on what you decide to create. and again, your vibration. So anyway, I stumbled across this image of, they call it the Crystal Palace, a few years ago. And this image, oh my God, it resonated with me so deeply. I was obsessed with it. I downloaded it to my phone, and I just, it's like, why do I love this photo so much? And I realized that I know this place. I've seen this place. It's like my guts were pulling me to the conclusion. This is where I'm going when I pass. And I was so taken with this picture that I've even, for a client, done a whole bunch of AI to try and tweak the image to get it just um like to get it as real and as close to what I feel it looks like. Anyway, so last year I started following this well-known psychic medium. She's super popular in the UK. She is deemed as one of the UK's best psychic mediums. Her name's Nikki Allen. She's huge on YouTube, so you can easily look her up. And I was watching one of her videos, and then she started talking about the Crystal Palace. And I couldn't believe it. She started explaining this place, and it sounded exactly like what I'd seen and what I'm drawn to. She explained that it looks pretty much like, um, uh, you know, like the Disney Palace, um, like a fairy tale palace, and it's crystalline, and it's opaque because it's made of energy, and it's just divine, and it has a light source, and it's just the most beautiful place. And she even described the layout, what's inside the walls of this place. So inside it's just basically like a giant village where you have the halls of learning, you have the cherubim chamber, you have where the guides reside, you have different parts that are schools and places of learning. And I was like, oh my God, I know this place. It all resonated with me. And like I said, I do believe we all have our own versions of heaven. Um, but I believe that what she was explaining was the real deal, in that, well, she calls it a blueprint to humanize the layout of heaven. That's she's been given a blueprint from her guides, so you kind of know where everything is. And they say in near-death experiences, I read about it all the time. They say describing heaven is so difficult, and there's no words. It's just impossible to describe because we're human. We can't grasp it. So this blueprint, the Crystal Palace, is just a way of humanizing it so that we can better understand, like in layman's terms, kind of what it looks like and kind of what's inside the Crystal Palace, or heaven, or whatever you want to call it, the source. So I was blown away, because it's like she's describing everything that I see and feel about this place. I didn't even know it was a thing. I could have picked anything from my idea of heaven, and a Crystal Palace, that's what I was pulled to deeply. So I knew that was going to be my first painting. So um oh my God, doing this painting almost killed me. So I made an attempt on it, I think, early December, and within minutes, I was just wanted to cry, because the background wasn't working out, the paint wasn't going on properly. I just thought, oh my God, I've really ballsed up. This isn't working out. I started to think that I'd bought dodgy canvases or not the right paints. Why is it not working out? And so I went away, I came back to it, and again, it was just like, I thought, I can't do this. Um, and I actually thought that maybe it was a sign from my guides that I wasn't supposed to be doing this. But actually, it was them teaching me and throwing everything they had at me, like a quick learning curve on everything that could go wrong with a painting has gone wrong with this painting. It's got so many layers on it. There's been so many errors. It's been 2 steps forward, 1 step back all the time. But I did vow to my guides and myself that it doesn't matter if it takes 10 years, 20 years, I'm going to complete this painting. And I completed it yesterday. I mean, I'd say it is finished, but that's not to say that maybe when I gain more skills, I might go back to it and perfect it. But at the moment, it is finished. And yeah, there were some tears and so many mistakes, like getting the clouds right. I had to go over and over that, getting the water right, um, and trying to get a glow on the palace walls and the reflection on the water from the Crystal Palace. A huge learning curve. Um, but I am actually pleased with it, and I'm so proud that I did persevere and that I did it. Um, and the funny thing is because I bought these huge canvases, thinking I'd throw myself at the deep end and just go megas, um, and go for a very, very large canvas. I actually had a dream, and my guide said to me, Anna, you need to go smaller, you've gone too big. And thank God I listened, because before I actually started, I went out and got smaller canvases and it was much more doable. See, you got to listen to your guides. You know, I was not going to ignore that dream. Um, so yeah, I mean, the plan is to basically take a bit of a step back from my portraits, try and get my waiting list down so that it's more manageable. And rather than this conveyor belt, I am going to be doing my painting as well as my portraits, because I think it's time to step back, de-stress a bit, and not have so much pressure. And I'm really excited, you know, where this is gonna go. Eventually, I hope to have a range. So maybe like a range of downloads, a range of spirit animals, um, a range of my visions. And I'm gonna hopefully put them on my website and maybe sell the originals, or maybe get some prints sorted to sell for whoever resonates with them. And that's where I am. So yeah, I knew change was on the way. And my guides, my amazing guides, I didn't listen the first time, but they nudged me in the right direction. And here we are. So I hope I've explained everything okay. And I am sorry for stopping and starting, and I fall on my words. It is the nerves. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to explain my exciting new direction. Anyway, I've waffled on too long. Um, Feel free to comment, but please be kind. I know everybody's probably shouting at the screen, thinking, "No, that's not what heaven looks like. No, heaven's that is, you know, there's no blueprint," and just like screaming at me, saying that's wrong. But that's my personal opinion. I can only go with what I vibe with, and you know, what are the odds that other mediums have seen this place and they know what it looks like? Because I put the AI images on my socials, and somebody commented and went, "Looks pretty close, to be fair." So I'm like, "Hey, that's another person who's looked at this image and gone, yeah, that's home. That's where we go." So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. So uh, I hope you're all having a lovely new year, and roll on 2025 and all the goodies it's going to bring. And I'm definitely going to go now. Okay, bye.